Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Tom from UDS with another edition of UDS Interviews, our series where we chat to interesting people from around the world. Now, my guest this week is one of the most exciting metal bands to come out of Britain in recent years, combining brain and brawn with crushing riffs and thoughtful lyrics. And they're here to talk all about their recent debut album. It is my pleasure to introduce Huw and Myles from, arguably, the most handsomest band in the world today, Schemata Theory.
By sides of the coin, blinded from a chance to join. Ground opens up, we're losing touch with voices that never been the bridges and walls are rising still fall. With voices that never been more powerful.
Hey buddy, thanks for having us.
Thanks. Anytime. How are you guys?
And what
doing
a kind
today?
intro.
Oh, I speak no lie.
Fantastic.
I speak no lie. The proof is right there on the webcams. Fellas, how are you doing today?
Really good.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Cool. So it's a Friday we're recording today. What has your Friday been like? What is your ideal Friday evening? Other
You go
than
first,
chatting to us.
I think my ideal Friday this evening is probably not going to involve very much. I'm probably going to order pizza, and I'm probably going to start. I got the new Horizon Zero Dawn game when it came out a week ago, and haven't had time to install it. So hopefully I'll get that started tonight. So that'll be my wild Friday.
You're bucking the trend from the wave of Elden Ring hype that's been going on by going for Horizon.
That's
Tom.
because I hadn't heard of Elden Ring until I saw all the hype, and I was like, well, I've just bought this launch, so I'll do the other one first.
So this is an interesting benchmark against my ideal, because I just went to a walk into town to get some pizza and they had none there. So that was kind of sad. So I'm going to try and order some after this. And then I've actually just installed Horizon Forbidden West, but I actually received on the same day, like 2 days ago, Forbidden West and Elden Ring. And I just started playing Cyberpunk 2077.
No.
So I'm in this weird sort of, where do I start? Because they're all going to be massive games. But I've played a bit of Cyberpunk. I'm going to go to Horizon Forbidden West, I think, because it's going to, I think I'm not ready for the brutality of Elden Ring. That's for sure.
So if we get to a point where Schemata Theory mysteriously cancel all of their upcoming tour dates, we know the real reason why that's gone down.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk more. I'm sure we'll talk more about games in a bit, but you mentioned pizza as well, and I always find that pizza toppings are like a good Rorschach test of like a person's personality. So, if you could define yourself as a pizza, like your perfect pizza, what pizza would you say best represents you as a person?
Do you want to go first? Well,
Yeah. I mean, I used to always be the half and half because I can be quite a scatty creative person that's indecisive. Like, I'm one of these people that when I'm at a restaurant with friends and everyone's ordering, I'll sort of know what I want to get, but I won't decide until everyone else has ordered around me because I want to kind of have something different. And so, yeah, with pizzas, I'll just get half and half and it'll be random every time.
Interesting. It's interesting. What about you, Huw?
I'd say I'm also on the half and half camp, probably from being indecisive as opposed to wanting to be different. It's more like I want something tried and tested and safe, but I probably can't decide between two, so we have two of them. So I'm still quite upset that my local Domino's hasn't reverted to allowing half and half since
That's
COVID
true,
still.
isn't it? Yeah.
Wow.
So it'd be great if they could bring that back.
It sure would. And I guess, in a way, a half and half pizza would be a good representation of Schemata Theory because you do, as I said in the intro, have that balance of brain and brawn with, the poignant, very much sort of more introspective side as well as the crushing riffs. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do a segue into music. And so, as I was saying, we are talking a week after the launch of your debut album, Unity in Time. And I wanted to ask you guys, how has it been since its launch? What's the reception been like?
It's been incredible. I mean, for us, it's been a long time coming, and you know, compared to a lot of bands on the scene at the moment, our audience isn't quite at the grand scale that we would love it to be one day. But for us, it's always about the depth of the connections and the conversations that we've had with people, and the receptions have just been remarkable. You know, we finished recording it just weeks before the pandemic started. And so there've been a lot of delays, whether it was music videos or, you know, just working out when we were going to play live. And the longer that you give time for a release when you've got something, that's more time for anxiety to grow. And so we all, you know, we believed in it and we were very proud of it. But until you get it out there, we had no idea. And so to put it out there and see such positivity, you know, and there are some people that have things that they prefer over others, and that's great. That's a part of the conversation. But just people talking about it and engaging with it has just been an absolute thrill.
Excellent. What about Huw? What's your sort of vibe for the past week? Have you had? I was going to say, has it been like, you know, have you been buzzing, or has it been like oh my god, thank God that's out, I can sleep now sort of thing? Has it been like a release?
It really has been both, I think. Obviously, we've been excited to get it out, but as Myles said, it sort of took a lot longer than we originally planned, and that kind of always happens regardless of COVID, but especially because of COVID. And have it finally out there, and sort of, I think the thing is with any music, I guess with any kind of thing you, I guess, give to the public in any way, whatever that might be, whether it's videos or artwork or you're a writer, whatever. As soon as it's like out, it's not really yours anymore.
Of course,
it's sort of like you're giving it to other people, and I think that's part of the release. The first day it was out, I remember listening to it on my phone on Spotify or Apple or whatever it was. But I feel like I'm listening to this as a fan now, as opposed to agonizing over for the last 2 years of, oh, there's that bit. Will anyone notice that bit's not quite as recorded as well as I could have played it or whatever? Whereas now it's too late. So it could be sort of free of it. But the actual reception from the people listening to it has been fantastic to hear people's thoughts. Both the people, like the real people listening to it, but also the all the media and both the written and online press have been, for the very most part, really positive, which has been fantastic to hear, and sort of reassuring that we're not doing it absolutely terribly.
Well, I can say for sure it's definitely one of my, I know obviously we're only a short time into 2022, but it's already one of my album of the year contenders. So yeah, you've definitely made one fan here. And it's interesting that you say about, you know, sort of how your relationship with the tracks has sort of changed in sort of even the short time since the album's been out, because I was reading about how, you know, this album tackles quite a lot of, you know, themes and issues that not just over the past 2 years, but that people sort of, you know, go throughout their lives and been going out happening throughout history. And so I was going to say, like, how was the process of writing this album? Was it difficult to approach these, or was it a sense of sort of catharsis to get it out on paper? And do you feel like your relationships with these songs in that regard has changed since you wrote them all that time ago?
Well, that's a big question.
I know. After pizza talk and video games,
yeah, I know.
With the hard truths.
You want to go, Hugh?
I was just saying I think obviously, so Myles is the main guy with the lyrics and sort of the specific subject matter. Obviously, we're all on board with sort of the overall message of the band, but how that becomes specific in the nature and the exact context any track will take, that's really down to Myles. But musically, I think when we write, because we're very much a band who writes the music, and then Luke and Myles do their thing to bring their vocals to that, and then we'll tweak the tracks and move them around if they need something or something, whatever it might be. But we try and give them a platform first with the music. So I think at the point you're writing the music, it's not entirely sure what direction they're going to go, other than the broad sort of messaging the band has. So that was sort of a just make music you think sounds good and you think hopefully people will like, but ultimately as long as we like it, we enjoy it, it sounds like we want to sound, we're kind of happy. And then we hand it over to the vocals gang to do their thing. I think in terms of what you said at the end there, in terms of relationship with the songs, I think from my side, I find it really interesting. I know the meaning of the songs and I know the content. I know what Myles is talking about and what Luke's singing about when they're doing their thing. But when you hear lots of people who've heard the songs now for the first time and they're saying, oh, I really like this song because of this, or I really like this song, I really connected to the song in this way, or I love the message of this song, it means a lot to me. It really changes it because, or at least in your own mind, because obviously I know what they're trying to say and great, I agree with the message and amazing. But it's very different when someone's actually received that message who was intended to receive it, i.e. a listener, not just the rest of the band, and hear their thoughts on it. Does amplify the meaning in whatever direction they've received it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with all that. And just to add to what he said, our number one objective is to create music that we enjoy writing and playing, and that people enjoy listening to. You know, that is the basics of it. But yes, there is a layer of the meaning. And it's for people that wish to look a bit deeper. But also, I find that when it comes to social awareness, a big part of it is not just appealing to the people that will be looking for it. Sometimes it's just giving people a sense of it. So they go, oh, there's a bit of curiosity there. And they might start learning or thinking about stuff that they wouldn't normally think about before. And we've always spoken about the idea of, you know, creating these anthems for social consciousness. But on the one hand, that sounds incredibly pretentious. And so for us, it's an objective. And when I say it's an objective, it's not to say this is what our music is, this was the objective and we've completed it. Yeah. We don't know. This was just something that it's to kind of give a bit more of a grounded responsibility to the music, that if we're going to be playing around the country and, you know, having 30 minutes to an hour of someone's time, in anything you do in life, I've always sort of broken it down into three things. You know, there's sort of the engage, inform, and inspire. And like the engage bit is, it's a very noisy world out there. People are listening to all kinds of music. You know, this can apply to anything, videos, what have you, video games. And so you've got to cut through the noise with a signal. And so, when you're playing live or they've chosen to listen to your album, they're spending time with it. But then the inform part is, you know, you've grabbed their intention. Wouldn't it be nice for them to leave the album with more knowledge or thoughts than what they came to it with in the first place? Now, the thoughts could just be, that's a really cool musical piece of construction that, you know, I might use in my own band, or, you know, or I might want to practice myself. Or it is something to do with the issues. And then the inspire component is, you know, you've grabbed their attention. You've thankfully, you know, informed them about something they weren't thinking about before. But what use is that if they then don't feel a sense of empowerment to do something about it themselves? So if it's about mental health, it might be, I could actually be more compassionate to myself or to friends. If it's about the world and the environment, maybe there is something I could read up about. And so that is kind of the journey with it. And I'm not going to say that every time we write a song, we're like, right, how are we going to do all these things? But it is always in the back of our mind that, you know, we have an opportunity here. And so to have something with meaning doesn't actually take away from the artistic craft of it. I think you can do both. And I'm very grateful to be in a band with friends that are all up for doing it.
Well, that's it. I mean, you have to sort of believe in what you're saying and writing for it to be worth anything, really. And so no, that's really cool. And I have to say, in my day job, I work in marketing, and the phrase inform, engage, and inspire is music to my ears. That's what I've always tried to drill into my team. So yes, no, it's a good message. It's a good message. And speaking of sort of, you know, the sort of pushing the boundaries, as you say, into other sort of art forms. You've talked about your videos and everything, and a couple of the avenues which I found really interesting is how you've used video games as an avenue to get your music out there, specifically VR, and actually tonight at time of recording, Twitch. So could you tell us a little bit about what you've done with these mediums to help sort of push the music out there?
Sure. Pretty much everyone in the band is a gamer. I myself am a VR gamer. I got PlayStation VR, but the band love to play it when they come over. It's something actually I do miss from the pre-pandemic times, was, having people over all the time and, enjoying watching people flail their arms about in VR. And, I could go at lengths about this, but the top line thing about Beat Saber is, Beat Saber is the new age guitar hero, in which that everyone wants to go. It's the one more game at a party. It's always the VR game I put on last because people don't want to play anything else the rest of the night. And it has a really vibrant custom mapping community, but not for PlayStation VR because it doesn't allow modding. So I knew that this existed, but until I engaged with it, I didn't realize how massive it was. And it simply comes down to this. Beat Games, the creators of Beat Saber, and I'm not speaking for them here, just speculating. They love that community because that is giving so much more longevity, because any popular song, there's someone out there that's created a map, and then fans are able to enjoy it. But they're not allowed to publicly endorse it because it is technically a black market for music. Because even if the artists and the labels love it, the people creating the maps or those downloading it, you're not doing it without a license, so you're technically not allowed to do it. So we had a discussion as a band, and again, with us all being gamers, we were kind of all up for doing something in the gaming space. Obviously, we'd love to be on a main menu for FIFA or the new the Tony Hawk's remake and stuff like that. But we thought something we could do is engage with the community directly. So we actually did some research. We found one of these custom mappers. And we said, hey, we've got this album coming out. I chose the single New Vision because I felt it was the most interesting musically for a Beat Saber game. It's got a bit of everything. It's quite up tempo. It's relentless. It's got a solo. It's got a breakdown. And I think it would have mass appeal. And so then they went away and worked on it. They created the tracks for Hard, Expert, and Expert Plus. And we thought it was going to be a great idea. Didn't quite expect it to do as well as it did because it was just after we got off tour in November. A few of us had become unwell. I was stuck in unwell. And so what better way to spend your time unwell than going from Twitch stream to Twitch stream, requesting your own song. But we weren't just kind of airdropping in and like requesting it and then going on. We'd spend like half an hour in a room and I would say, hey, hope you don't mind me requesting my band's track. We've just released this. We commissioned someone. What do you think? And people loved it. They were like, what? You're in this band? Like, it's so cool that you're supporting the community. And then the last thing I would just say on the context of New Vision, and this is where it really hit home for me, is New Vision is a track about mental health and, getting through adversity. It was inspired from experiences I had with a head injury that I recovered from over time. New Vision on Expert Plus mode, I don't think I could play it. And it's embarrassing to say that I haven't even played our own map yet because I need to get a PC VR headset. But people were like playing through it and absolutely exhausted by the end. And when people were asking what the song was about, I said, this is a song about like persevering through the toughest mental struggles and finally getting to the end and feeling like relieved that you finally made it. And that's the journey we wanted the song to be. So these people were like, they're not only playing along, well, they are playing along to our song, but like you get all these reaction channels and that react to music videos and songs. And it's really great seeing that real time reaction. But on Beat Saber, there's a physicality to it. And so to see people exhausted and get to the end and some of them go like lean over panting, out of breath. And it's like, there's a direct connection of physicality to what the song is about and how it feels. And that was just mind blowing. And we've had hundreds of people from around the world. We've had some of the top Beat Saber players play it. Some of them I didn't even know they were top Beat Saber players until I saw them 100% it without taking a breath. And yeah, it's just been absolutely incredible.
That's amazing. So effectively it works on that layer, and also you've made the Dark Souls of Beat Saber. So it's brilliant. Yeah. Oh well, I'm fortunate enough that I also do have a VR headset, and that is definitely going to be on my my plans tonight, is to check that out. So,
amazing. Yeah. I'll send you the link afterwards for
please do.
For the download code. That's amazing.
Please do. I definitely want to check that out. And you mentioned some other games that, in an ideal world you'd feature in. So you say Tony Hawk, FIFA and everything like that. And that does lead me on quite nicely to my next question, which is, Here at UDS, we talk about more than just music. We talk video games, we talk films, we talk anything that basically we find interesting. And with that in mind, if there was nothing off the table, what would be your dream thing to have one of your tracks featured in? Whether it be a game, a movie, nothing's off the table, what would be the dream thing?
Man,
it's another big question. I think. Okay, so I'm not sure I know a direct answer, but I can remember a couple of times where I was amazed by the song that was in the moment. And I remember there being a Top Gear test or something, and they're just doing the bit where they drive around the track and it's like they're just showing off the car. And the song they were playing was a Bring Me the Horizon song. And this is obviously Bring Me the Horizon today are a different animal to they were 5 years ago. But even now, even if they did it today, I'd still be like, wow, it's actually like a metal song. And I think it was probably them again. I remember seeing their song come on at like a Sky Sports like interval thing. So I think for anything that could take someone by surprise, that wow, it's here, that'd be pretty cool. But like those kind of just being in something normal, I guess, something normal, mainstream world, be like, oh wow, that's a pretty cool place for someone to be able to hear our track, as opposed to somewhere where you'd go for it, I guess would be pretty amazing.
I am really looking forward to the weekend now where I'm in my pants watching Soccer Saturday and all of a sudden I hear a song and I'm like, I talked about pizza with them guys.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Actually, having said that, I know because we've used a service on a previous release which does do commercial licensing for music. And I do know there is something that Channel 4 has done where it used the track. We don't know anything. That's all we know. This was years ago. So it could have been like a bit of pre-roll on a YouTube video. It might be on something that never even got used, but it might be out there. So if you go through 4OD, maybe.
You think they tell you, like, that's just mean, not telling you what it is, but, well.
They want us to watch more Channel 4.
Well,
keep watching it and it'll eventually pop up.
This is their marketing technique.
Yeah.
It works. What about you, Myles?
Oh, man. It's a difficult one. Because, there was a track by Cyan Kicks called Gasoline, and I think they're from Sweden, and it was on a PlayStation 3 monthly game called Wreckfest. It was like a Destruction Derby game. And this song, Gasoline, like when the guitars kick in, the guitars are so chunky and it's catchy. And I've listened to it all the time. And all my friends who've played it have always talked about that one song. And having a song called Gasoline for a Destruction Derby kind of game is a really good mix. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of a specific game, because the easy ones are for Grand Theft Auto 6, I'd love us to be on the radio because I don't know how many plays you're going to get. But I'm going to guess it's going to be more than we could ever possibly dream. But that is the thing about gaming is main menus, it's a sneaky way because you basically conditioning people just hear it again and again. And it just, it becomes a bit of an earworm. Yep. So, yeah, I do think a Grand Theft Auto 6 would be amazing because I would love to know what the play numbers are on songs on it. I figure that will never be released, but it also makes me wonder how the royalties work when they get the songs on. Because I know when they re-released Vice City, I believe that a lot of the songs in the original Vice City, because they had like Paradise City, they had all these, 80s tracks. I think a lot of them didn't come back. And it's always that weird balancing thing of like, well, who's getting the benefit here? Because you're like, yeah, the record labels want to get paid, and I guess like Guns N' Roses don't need more exposure. So it's like, yeah, you do need it. Yeah. But then there are other bands that be like, bite my hand off, like have it for free. Like the marketing of getting your music on there would be phenomenal. It's an interesting world.
It sure is. And it's interesting how, at least for me, the different games, I have like a weird different Pavlovian response to it. So everyone loves the Tony Hawk soundtracks. Everyone that, is into alternative music will cite them as an inspiration for their taste in music. But FIFA music, if a song is on FIFA, even if it's a brilliant song, after 6 months, that's just a FIFA song to me. Like, that is just a song from FIFA, and I can't. Whenever I hear it, I think FIFA. But I don't get that with Grand Theft Auto or anyone else. It's just FIFA for some reason. But maybe that's just the weird way that my brain works. But yeah,
I'm with you there. Actually, there's a lot of songs I hear on Spotify when it comes up. I'm like, oh yeah, that was from FIFA.
Yeah.
But then I also think it goes to the fact that music is is arguably the biggest character in video games, because even before we had voiceovers, music was all that you had in video games. Like you think of Mario or Sonic the Hedgehog. And it is that sort of passive thing that it's in the background. Maybe it's to do with the fact that Grand Theft Auto, when you're listening to it, it just feels like a radio that you're listening to. Whereas
true.
FIFA, it is in the background. I don't know.
It's only in the background on the menu as well, isn't it, on FIFA? So I wonder if that's part of it. Because I always think, what's the archetypal FIFA song too?
Right,
it's showing our age, but of which FIFA version it was. But it's only there in the menus, and then you're not listening to music when you're playing the games. So you associate it with where you're not really focused on something. When this is with Grand Theft Auto, you should be theoretically concentrating on either driving or shooting someone.
Obeying the highway code. And,
That's a good.
Maybe it's because whenever I hear a FIFA song, I've normally lost 7-0, and I'm just really cross as well. So that could be another reason why I think of it. But no, great answers, and looking forward for the rest of 2022. Obviously, you guys have just released the album. What does the rest of the year, as best as you can plan out, got in store for you guys?
So we are on tour in 2 weeks. We start. First show's 2 weeks today, in fact, in Bracknell. So that's Friday the 18th, depending on when this comes out. It's probably not 2 weeks today. And then, so we're around the country we're doing five shows that week, and then a bit of a gap, and then we've got another run in August for sure.
I've got the dates in front of me, so I can quickly read them out if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
See, I could have just sat here and gone, I think it's this one, and my memory's really good. But no, I brought it up as soon as you asked. Yeah. So 18th of March, we're playing Bracknell, the Acoustic Couch. 20th, we're playing in Bristol, the Griffon. 25th of March, we're playing Workington, Skinny Jimmy's, which we played in November. Had an absolute blast there. 26th, we're playing Whitchurch at Percy's Cafe Bar. And the 27th, we're playing Nottingham, Percy Picklebackers, supporting...
Forever in the Making.
That's it. I'm glad Q saved me from that embarrassment. And then 11th, and then in August, we're playing Newcastle, Rotherham, Liverpool, and Colville. But we'll put those details on our socials. But come see us. We love to chat and hang out.
Hell yeah! Well, hopefully we can do this in person sometime, and
that'd be awesome.
And that'd be a good time, and get a beer or something. But
definitely,
we'll put a link in the description below for everything. I will, if I can remember, do it as sort of the Star Wars opening text crawl with the dates coming up over the screen. But I'm also not very good at video editing, so that is very speculative on my part. But
there's probably an Instagram filter that does it automatically by now.
This is true. Or I'll just get someone on Fiverr. We'll see what happens.
That's what we should be doing,
Freelance everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, I only have one more question to ask you. It's been an absolute pleasure, so I better ruin it with a bum note at the end. And that is, we are UDS, which stands for Upside Down Shark. And don't ask me why we settled on the name Upside Down Shark. It's a very silly name, but we're in way too deep to change it now. But be that as it may, what is your favourite shark? And it could be real, it could be fictional, it could be a shark from a movie or a shark from the ocean out there. But what would you say your favourite shark is?
I mean, mine is going to sound really boring. But the great white shark has, and I would recommend anyone who's not done it is check out Ocean Ramsey. She's based in Hawaii. Of course she is, with a name called Ocean Ramsey. And she swims with great white sharks. And she actually did some GoPro promos where she just swims out the cage. They're using flash photography while she's doing it, which I'm like, I've seen that in a horror movie. Yeah. Shouldn't be doing that. And she'll grab the fin of the great white shark and just go off into the distance. And it is mind-blowing. But she's trying to show that they're not actually that dangerous. And I have respect for that. But they've always terrified me ever since doing backstroke as a kid in a swimming pool and worried that there's going to be one beneath me,
I mean, it is not statistically impossible. They say, the only statistically provable things is death and taxes. So there is a very small chance, however small, that there may be a great white in your local swimming pool. Maybe
That's
even
it.
cinema. But anyway,
Depends what they're showing.
yeah, the Meg's on.
Yeah.
You save me from this terrible bit, please. What's your favourite shark?
I was just trying to think, if there was one in the cinema, I'd back myself to get away, but not in a swimming pool.
I mean, you're on home turf there, yeah.
exactly.
Actually, can I just say, have you seen those photos of those drive-in cinemas, but it's over a lake where they play Jaws on the big screen and you sit in rubber rings in the water? Oh, man, that's amazing. But I couldn't do it.
It sounds too real to me, for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound... It does sound fun, but not enjoyable, if that makes sense.
Very stressful. Very stressful.
Yeah. So favourite shark? I am going to say Bruce from Finding Nemo, because he's a pretty cool shark, and slight tangent. My wife's car is called Bruce, and it's definitely linked to that as where the thought for the name came from. So I'm going to go with him. He's pretty tries his best.
He sure does. And he's voiced by Dame Edna Everage. So what more could you want? What more could you want? And on that factoid, fellas, that is it. Thank you so much for your time today. And we'll put a link to everything everyone needs to know in the description below.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom, man. Really appreciate it. It was great chatting, and we will go for a real life beer soon.
If we could cut through the noise.